Today on the Ask BP podcast, we're talking about how do I invest in real estate while serving in the U.S. military. Stay tuned.
You're listening to another BiggerPockets Ask BP podcast, where you'll hear short, direct answers to your biggest real estate questions. Submit your question today on Facebook, Twitter, or the BiggerPockets forums by using hashtag AskBP. And don't forget to pick up your copy of the Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Real Estate Investing and other great content when you sign up for your free account at BiggerPockets.com. With that, let's get to the show.
Hey, what is going on, everyone? My name is Brandon here with the Ask BP podcast. Super stoked that you're here today to learn a little bit more about real estate investing. In particular, today we're talking about investing in real estate while you may be serving in the U.S. military. And today's question comes to us from Jared from Roseville, California. And Jared asks, I'm going into the Air Force soon, and I wanted to know how I could use the Air Force as a tool to get into real estate investing. Well, Jared, let me talk about that a little bit. First of all, congratulations on going into the military. I think that's awesome, and thank you very much for your service. You rock, and everyone else listening who might be in the service, you guys are awesome. So just anyway, thumbs up there. As for investing in real estate, there's a couple cool things about the fact that you're in the military, a couple cool advantages that you have that you should be able to take advantage of while you're there. And so that's what I want to talk about today. First of all, I want to give you a few tips on getting started with real estate while you're serving in the military. First of all, if you're stationed overseas, it's going to be a lot more complicated than if you're at home. However, it can be done. So if you're stationed overseas, you can still invest in real estate. We'll talk about some of those strategies in a minute. But just keep in mind, it's going to be a little more difficult. At home, typically, the military moves people around from place to place fairly often, maybe every year, every 2 years, 3 years, whatever. And so a lot of military people end up picking up a house and they buy a new property in each area they move to, thus building their portfolio just naturally that way. And it's not a bad strategy to get to use. So just keep that in mind. That's something you could do, and that's one of the advantages to being in the military is that kind of forcing you to invest in real estate that way. Let's see, another advantage of being in the military is the ability to use a VA loan. And a VA loan is really powerful because it gives you a lot of cool extra benefits to buying a property because it's one of your special things you get for being in the military. And so I want to talk about a few cool things about the VA loan. And I talk about this a lot in my book, the book on investing in real estate with no and low money down. But also, when you asked the question, Jared, actually in the BiggerPockets forum, I know you got a response from Tyler Flagg, and so I'm actually just going to summarize what he said because he really summed it up really nicely. So that's what Tyler said in response to on that BiggerPockets forum post. He said, first of all, no down payment. When you can opt in if you're doing the VA loan, you can put $0 down when you buy a property you're going to live in. Also, no PMI. PMI is like private mortgage insurance, and a lot of loans like FHA loans or anything less than 20% usually require this PMI, and you don't have that as a VA loan, so you can have a little bit cheaper payment than other people. You get that low interest rate, which is great, and usually it's fixed interest rate. And then also you could buy a multifamily property with a VA loan. So you could buy a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex. And so those are just some of the cool benefits to using a VA loan. So thank you, Tyler, for that information. That's great. And so again, the VA loan is kind of cool. It's a good strategy, so I would definitely look into that. Now, what if you wanted to flip houses? That's going to be a little more tough. That's a little bit more on the job side of real estate versus the rental side. So if that's what you wanted to do, it's possible, but it's going to be a little difficult. It's just like anybody else trying to flip while working a full-time job. It just takes careful planning, systems, buying the right property, and doing as well as you can that way. I would also recommend while you're getting in the military, use this time to live as cheap as possible. Save up as much money as you can, pay off as much debt as you can, and really take control of your finances during this time. It's a good time to learn how to really rein in your finances. So a lot of really good blogs out there that especially cater towards military personnel. It's like themilitarywallet.com is a good one. Hullfinancialplanning.com is good. JeffRoseFinancial.com. Those are all just good financial blogs that you should be probably checking out, run by people who are in the military. So definitely check those out as well. And then, really just, invest like anybody else would. Get your education, learn everything you possibly can. Maybe consider house hacking. That's that idea of you living in a small multifamily property and renting out the other units. Or just buy a house knowing you're going to move out 2 years from now, potentially, and when you have to move to a new area. So buy it with the assumption that you'll live there for a little while and then move out, and it better cash flow. So analyze every house you want to buy for yourself as if it's going to be a rental. And that way, when you move out, you can just have a nice rental in a nice area that you'll be able to hand over to property management. So I'd recommend doing a good analysis on any property you buy. So if you want some more information on investing in real estate while serving in the U.S. military, I actually wrote a really, really long, in-depth blog post about it back about a year ago, but you can get to it at biggerpockets.com/military. Again, that's biggerpockets.com/military. So with that, hopefully that helps you out. Jared, thank you for the question. And anybody else who has a question you want me to talk about here on the Ask BP podcast, just go ahead and shoot me an email, brandon@biggerpockets.com, or put it in the BiggerPockets forums, and just somewhere in your post write #AskBP. You can put it on Twitter, on Facebook. Just use #AskBP anywhere you put it, and I'll see it. So with that, let's get out of here. Today's success quote of the day comes from Tony Robbins, who said, "Remember, a real decision is measured by the fact that you've taken new action. If there's no action, you haven't truly decided." I love that. So let's get out of here. For the Ask BP podcast, my name is Brandon, and just remember, in your pursuit of your goals, don't just learn, but take action. For the BiggerPockets Ask BP podcast, this is Brandon signing off.
You've just heard another episode of the BiggerPockets Ask BP podcast. Submit your question today on Facebook, Twitter, or the BiggerPockets forum by using #AskBP. And for more incredible real estate investing tools and education, including a free download of our book, The Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Real Estate Investing, head over to biggerpockets.com and sign up for your free account today. We'll see you on the next show.